So did our direction change? We saw we have 2 good power feeds, but now the truck is, that's it, it's dead in the water. What do we do? Start unplugging sensors? Is it a 5-volt reference problem? Crank and cam? Why not? Map. Sensor number 1. TPS, right? No bus. It's starting to get a little frustrating. I got the voltmeter out. Just want to put on the 5-volt reference. The 5-volt reference looks perfect. And now the truck freaking runs again. Well, it cranks. I disconnected the crank sensor. Let's reconnect that, start it up. More variables. Plugged everything back in. Clear the codes. Start up the truck. Hey, these 2 pop up pretty quickly, meaning this PCM is looking for a skim, key, which still doesn't explain our problem. 5-volt reference, still there, no problems. Here's something else I learned. You would think that pulling a 5-volt reference down would kill the computer and cause a no bus. Check this out. We're on the TPS 5-volt feed wire. That's definitely the feed. It's 5 volts. The other one's the ground, and the third one is the signal. So I'm just gonna ground this guy. Let's hook this up through a banana jack. So let's see here. This case study is taking a lot longer than anticipated, just because of the intermittent nature of the problem. So we're at 5 volts. Now I'm just going to ground that TPS through a test light, doesn't matter. We'll check out the voltage. Stalls the truck out, right? Oh, come on. Everything's like... Alright, so we're down. The computer did not go dead. Let's see what the codes are. TPS voltage load, that's it. That was not the signal wire, that was a 5-volt, the whole reference. We try to crank it. Let's see, key off, key on. It doesn't start because the cam and the crank are MIA. So these 2 codes are not caused by a power failure to the PCM. That was misleading. We have another issue. So we're not, I repeat, we're not losing the bus through a pull down 5-volt reference. So we don't have to worry about the sensors whatsoever. We just proved that with a controlled experiment. The only way we can, okay, wait up. So back to here, let's undo our ground. Our 5-volt reference comes right back. Starts up fine. Everything's happy. Cool. We didn't recreate the no bus. So, what else can we do? I got the breakout box here. What if we just ground the bus pin? Now, I'll show you a wiring diagram first before we do anything. Pin 2 is the PCI bus on this truck. So let's just do it. Let's ground it. Truck stays running. However, all our stuff comes on. And we should get, yep, there it is. Blinky, blinky, blinky. And no bus, no Prindle. Same symptoms, but the truck is running. However, if we shut it off and key on, remember no Prindle, it still cranks up. Interesting. So it still knows, the PCM still knows where the shifter is, but you can't tell the instrument cluster, obviously. No bus. So again, this is not the same issue here. Now, let's say we're in drive, no crank. Cranks right up. Now my question is, initial owner complaint was no crank, no start. We know that the shifter is messed up, one, and there's a separate problem if we lose the bus, completely lose it like we just did, we grounded it out, and he doesn't see where the shifter is because you can't really tell by feel, and that end doesn't light up. And obviously when you're in park, you're not, the transmission range sensor doesn't tell you're in park. Vehicle won't start. Are there two separate problems? This is kind of tough. Okay, so let's unground the pin. All our lights are on. We have no Prindle. We have the no bus message. And there it is. No bus. Check engine. Let's unground the pin. Stuff comes back online. There we got our Prindle. I don't know if the no bus message will disappear on its own or not. So we're going to check the codes. So here we'll get codes like lost comm with TCM, lost comm with cluster, lost comm with TCM, all this good stuff. We didn't have that before. Okay? What does that tell us? If just a PCI line was pulled down, like, you know, a module like the HVAC or something pulled it down, the computer would still recognize all those codes. We did not have those codes even after the problem occurred. So we're right back to the computer itself, the engine computer is falling off the, you know, off the, like basically dying for some reason. Alright. What happens if we disconnect connector C1 on the PCM? We get no bus, all the good stuff. However, we can still talk to modules like HVAC and it'll tell you all these things. Obviously you can't talk to the PCM. Let's try another one. ABS. Rear wheel ABS. Oh no, it's rear wheel. Same thing. We should be able to talk to it. No codes present. It's not even trying to talk to the PCM. Mismatched VIN. Don't care about that. What else? Body. Codes. No codes present in the body. What about the instrument cluster? This should say that it's trying to talk to the PCM. Wow, no codes present even though we have no bus and all this good stuff. Amazing. Amazing. Now my question is, can we talk to the PCM when we just pull down the PCI bus? Can we still go through SCI, transmit, and receive? Let's try that. So turn the guy off. Get this guy back online. Okay, this is like pretty intense. Now we're going to ground out the PCI bus. Ground it out. Engine. Key on. Ooh, it's a no crank. Okay, if we restore that, bus should be back online. Get too excited here. Key off, key on. Okay, now the engine computer is definitely offline. So now the real problem is occurring again. This is what the most frustrating part is. You try to do a controlled experiment and then the intermittent problem comes back and messes up your experiment. Why can't the truck just either stay broken or stay fixed? That's the way it goes. This thing is literally possessed. No bus. Okay, we're done in the water. While we're here, can't talk to the engine. Can we talk to, I don't know, the HVAC? That was actually giving us useful codes, right? There you go. Can't talk to all that stuff. Clear the codes out. Yes. Okay. Codes. Holy crap. All that stuff. So this is definitely telling us that our engine computer is offline. Right now, it's offline. That's what's going on. Agreed? Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying the Dakota from Hell Christmas special. I realized going through the video footage I forgot to include a wiring diagram of the actual network on this truck, and that's key to the diagnosis. So I want to recap. I printed the network out and just go over exactly what the thought process is and what experiments we're doing to narrow down this no COM, no crank, no start problem. So we have our data link connector up here, and here is the powertrain control module. So this vintage Chrysler, you can see it uses two separate networks. The SCI, which is from data link connector to the PCM. And keep in mind the TCM is actually built into the powertrain control module. So there's actually a separate wire, SCI transmit TCM, SCI receive PCM, and SCI receive. So 3 wires going to our data link connector dedicated to the powertrain control module. Now, the PCI bus, pin 2, so this is PCI. Where does that go? So if we go to the next page, we can see everything else is on the PCI bus. We have our instrument cluster, airbag, overhead console, central timer module. This is the Sentry key immobilizer module. Remember, the computer was fussing about that. And this truck might not have the Sentry key module, and the new PCM is looking for it because it wasn't programmed properly. Anyways, that's not really part of the issue, just setting that code. We have transfer case control module, and then it goes to another page here. Radio, AC, the HVAC, ABS, and finally our PCM again. So that's on the 3rd page here. Interesting, right? So the thought process is, if it's saying no COM, on the cluster, so our instrument cluster is right here, it's saying no bus. What does that mean? It's not receiving messages from the engine computer, which is over here. So this guy is not sending out messages. That does not mean our network is down, it just means that the PCM is offline. So the experiment that I did, just to prove that, I actually grounded out pin 2 directly to ground, So none of these modules on the PCI bus could talk. However, with the scanner, we could still talk to the PCM through this SCI, these SCI wires. So that was key in proving that the PCI network was not being pulled down. That did not cause the no crank, no start. Just to be clear. So now that you see the network diagram, you kind of follow along, or go to BBB Industries and you can find this guy. But I thought that was key to explaining the process. So enjoy the rest of the video. Truck's back up and running. The only thing I did was I disconnected and reconnected that connector. Kind of like a reboot, I guess. I don't know. So many variables. Where were we? PCI bus. If we ground it out, boom, we get no bus. Can we still talk to the engine? Why doesn't it say, like, you know, PCI bus off? Okay, lost communication with cluster cabin compartment node. We didn't have that before. So it's going to start setting U codes because we pulled down the PCI bus. My question is, oh, okay, the gauges are off. Can this thing still start? It can. With the PCI bus pulled down, the truck can start and run. But the owner definitely had a no-com before. Or did he? Lost communication with TCM. Okay. So pulling down the 5-volt reference does not produce the same symptoms. We still have communication with the PCM. Still cranks. Pulling down the entire PCI bus manually through the breakout box, truck can still run as long as you're definitely neutral, which in this case is not obvious. We do get no bus on the dash. We get all these codes. We can still talk to the engine computer. However, when the problem happens, we cannot talk to the engine computer. We do get PCI bus and it's a no crank, no start. You have to keep all of these details in the back of your head. So what are we dealing with? I'm saying PCI bus itself is fine. Nothing's pulling it down. 5-volt reference tree is fine. Sensors are good. We're down to either the PCM itself, the reman unit, is flaky, or powers and grounds. And we checked powers and grounds, both powers and both grounds. I'm almost tempted to see what happens when I pull the other fuse out of the PDC, like the battery fused line, if that does anything, or if it's the same symptoms. But powers or grounds, and the grounds we definitely verified with a test light. We verified both powers and grounds. They lit up the test light brightly, a 4-amp light. Is it a bad computer? Our plugs don't have the clips on them. I don't like it when you can't do a controlled experiment and rule one thing out, like 100% rule it out. I don't know.